Health officials now suspect the first victim to contract the virus picked it up in Argentina before getting on that ship. In mid-March, he'd visited a landfill during a birdwatching tour, and officials suspect he contracted it from rodents. He likely infected his wife. There are now a total of 11 suspected cases, including a KLM flight attendant now quarantined with mild symptoms. Officials say she had contact with the first victim's wife, who died a day after the flight. 82 passengers and 6 crew members from that flight now being tracked by the World Health Organization. The WHO says a Swiss man who returned home tested positive for hantavirus yesterday. He remains hospitalized.
Wow. Welcome to the Rufus and Craig Show, everybody. I'm your wonderful host, Craig, and there is
Rufus, and happy Mother's Day.
Nonetheless, everybody, we're happy to have you all here today. We got a great show lined up for you. We're excited to be with you this week. It's been a lot going on. And when I say a lot going on, it's really been a lot going on. If you paid attention to social media, it's just been a thing. And so all things considered, we're all trying to hang in there. And what you just heard was ABC 7, that's out of New York, really mentioning what's going on in the world. Everybody's kind of wondering, is this the second round of COVID in the form of hantavirus is the name of it. And so I said, for me, I'm not one to be afraid of sitting alone, but such is life, such it is, and being on lockdown, I think with the way everything is going right now, we actually might need some time alone. Some might be adverse to that. For those of you, I'm sure you'll find your way to cities like Atlanta that stayed open during COVID-19. I'm trying to think of what other cities were open during that time, but I know Atlanta was the hot spot. I didn't really hear too much about Miami, but nonetheless, all things constant, we know it was a big thing. And so keep yourself safe as much as possible and avoid any contact with people that you don't know, but that's going to be hard to do because we don't live in the world alone. One thing that's happening is what? Travel. So I wanted to make sure we started the show with the those of us who like to go on cruises. I myself had went on a cruise. It was back in October. My partner and I went to celebrate his sister's 50th birthday, and that was actually Carnival Cruise, and it was really nice. And I don't remember in my adult years ever doing a cruise by myself, but I mean, not by myself, but really going on a cruise. And I do remember motion sickness. So if you're like me, Dramamine is going to be your best friend. And yeah, it works. And kind of as a follow-up story to what we did last week with Spirit Airlines, I remember looking at some of the stories, and one thing that we don't consider when flights are canceled, where the hell are your bags? And I remember coming across this story in particular where a lady said, hey, my bag is gone. She had 5 bags. She was actually going, I believe, from Miami. That may have been a connecting flight. Miami down to Colombia. And I think, did I fly Spirit to Colombia from Philadelphia? I'm unsure. I very well could have, not sure. But nonetheless, we have to be in constant meditation for ourselves, but also those that are, in transition. This lady said 5 bags. That was pretty much her life. I guess she was moving back home, going back to Colombia. And so all things considered, it just didn't work out. She said she was pretty much stranded at the airport. And I think one thing Rufus and I talked about, it may have been even yesterday, the loyalty points program. I forgot what company. I can't think of the name of it, but they said they were going to allow them to actually keep their loyalty points. And continuing on with that, Rufus, did you have anything to add in regards to Spirit and everybody saying, well, I once was a Spirit Airlines pilot?
Yeah, I think that shit is stupid. Like, if you were actually a pilot, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be creating an AI picture of you in a pilot's uniform with a Spirit badge on. Like, you're not going to get it. If your plan is to get a job at another airline as a pilot, it's just not going to happen. You have to verify all that experience. So I think this shit's stupid, but that's just, my little take on it.
Yeah, one airlines that's scaling back, and this kind of touches on, we talk about the economic impacts of things that are going on right now. Delta Airlines is no longer offering snack service on trips 350 miles or less. And one thing I would tell you, when I've flown Delta and really any other airline, and it wasn't that it was even within 350 miles, they were doing that water stuff, and it wasn't due to turbulence, because they'll come on the mic and say, hey, we're not going to do our in-flight service today. We want to make sure we keep the flight attendants safe, and all things considered, they may be able to come down, do a water. I think is it water, tea, and coffee?
Yeah, and usually it's for flights that are a certain amount, like a shorter distance, like less than an hour. Usually they'll just serve water, or whatever, so they can get it done quick. But I think that's the same case for Delta right now with that new policy they implemented.
Yeah, well, they've been not serving snacks, if I may say. I think seriously, I'd be like, okay, it's not
Um,
turbulence, you know.
I've always had snacks unless it was one of those shorter flights,
And who do you mostly fly?
Southwest or Delta.
Okay, all righty. But who do you mostly fly?
Southwest right now.
Okay. So, I think that's the bubbly, fun company until they got lashed for these what is it? Oh my goodness. What is it called? The seat stuff, right? Then they're coming like under fire with the guy came and said this isn't a real business class. There's no
Uh,
curtain. It's just
but
supposedly
it's definitely not a real. They don't even call it business class. It's just like wider seating at the front of the plane.
there you go.
Um, but yeah, they have assigned seating now. I think they started that in January.
He said it wasn't worth it. So
Well,
for
I mean,
those of you
that's his opinion.
who are frequent Southwest, and shout out to a dear friend of mine and one of the sponsors for the show, the sponsor, Meet You Builders LLC. Thank you for your support, sir. Nonetheless, he's connected to Southwest Airlines in a way as well. And yeah, good opportunity and keeping it in line with what the hell is going on in the air and travel. I don't know if you saw this story. I'm sure you did. I saw this guy, it was a black guy, like a box truck or a tractor trailer,
Mhm.
attempting to deliver. He wasn't delivering hell. He was on. They had to be 95, and a United Airlines plane hit a light pole, which in turn the light pole hit his truck during a landing in Newark. And one thing I will tell you, living in the great city of Philadelphia is great to somebody. And going to New York, you pass by the Newark airport and you see the planes, and they do come close to the ground. And the beauty of this, everybody has a camera in their car. People have cell phones out at any given time. And Rufus has done his time. Thank you for your service to our country. So he's very familiar with airlines and things of that nature. But they were flying low, man, and it just, the guy was like, "Oh, I don't think he cussed. He didn't say Jesus either, but he was like, oh, I don't think he thought it was a goner, but he survived. He got minor injuries, and everybody was like, oh yeah, the United
Was this
Airlines."
was this LaGuardia or DFW? It was
No,
United.
it
So
was Newark. It
Newark.
was
Okay.
Newark, New Jersey. He was going over 95, and I guess the wheels. I don't know if it was the tail of the plane. I don't know. Something hit a light pole, and that in
Mhm.
turn hit that guy's truck.
Well,
So
did you hear about the incident in Denver?
absolutely, yeah. And Denver, yeah. So someone breached the fence and walked onto an active runway where a Frontier Airlines flight was taken off. Not sure where they were going, not important. And and the person got, is it ingested? They got sucked into the engine.
Yeah, I think part. Yeah, I think they got hit and then they got sucked into the engine at least partially.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
And the
something.
thing about phones, they tell us what do they tell you when you deplane or so if it's an emergency landing, leave your bags
Leave
behind.
all your shit at the seat.
Same thing. And these people didn't look like Rufus and I. And if you did not know, shout out to everybody in South Africa. We appreciate you listening. Um, can't wait to come back and visit you again in Cape Town. But nonetheless, we're black. And so I didn't see any black people, but I saw a lot of cell phone footage. I saw a lot of people with bags. And so I don't think they necessarily follow directions when deplaning in that emergency situation. But one thing I would tell you is I don't know if it was either on Threads or Twitter. They show it was like bloody, and it just, I think someone reported even seeing limbs out there. Didn't see any limbs, but you could see the person was whatever happened. Is that called a turbine?
Turbine, the engine, yeah.
That thing, yeah. That that thing. Yeah. It wasn't the best thing. And also somebody had an inside view of that where they were kind of, you record. Well, Rufus don't do that. He don't really care for planes. The inside and like he's not a good flyer, like I'm not a good rider in cars. I get sick. But nonetheless, somebody was recording their takeoff, and that's when you saw the boom. I'm hoping it's true because we see a lot of people pulling old videos and it's not necessarily relevant to the current news cycle, but I'm gonna ride and say that that was real with their Frontier. So yeah, Rufus, that's a
Oh
lot.
yeah, that definitely was real.
Oh, oof, just wow, just could not imagine that. And can only woo. Okay, well, that's interesting, and we'll take this time and roll right into our economy section here. Rufus, you're different from me, in that when I go to, and it's probably only one restaurant or what would be considered fast food, well, really all of them, I get out the car. I don't do drive-through service, and I've noticed that this has been happening well before it's kind of like been announced. McDonald's has been removing all self-service drink stations.
Why? Because the people been filling up and they don't want to spend their money to buy new extra sodas or whatever.
You know what? I'm unsure. I think it's just
Okay.
to cut costs, right?
It almost to me it almost goes along the same lines as Walmart having all those self checkout things and then rolling back on it because people are stealing.
You know what? That is true. They are going back. They really are still. Walmart is doing that. I think it said something about 650 stores, but does that
Well,
mean that humans get to come back and get those jobs again?
I would assume so because how else you gonna let somebody check out without either of the two?
Wow. I remember South Jackson when I lived in Jackson, Mississippi. There was a Walmart there, of course, right? And this it wasn't the richest area in the city of Jackson, but there were like 50 of those self-service registers. So it'll be interesting to see that come back because that's the chance that that could be, 25 jobs in the event that people could come and run those cash registers. So I think that'll be good for communities, definitely such as that.
I would
Um,
only advocate for Walmart to pay those people more than what the minimum wage is or whatever. They need to pay them more.
Walmart don't get
Okay.
paid.
Hell no, not unless you're a manager.
Oh, well, yeah, they do make good as a manager, right? I think I've heard something similar to that.
And
Yeah.
and it's actually the store manager, not like a department manager. The store manager make good money, but the store manager has a lot of job responsibilities as well. So
Oh,
it's understandable that they make a lot of money. But the regular people that work at Walmart, no, absolutely not.
oh, wow. I did not know that. So I know they had that manager, to your point, trainee program, because I think about some of the people, I think it was those agribusiness degrees. Those people could go work for Walmart or either Sam's Club right after college. And this was many years ago. And $50,000 10, 15 years ago, I would think would be a lot of money. Definitely not today unless you live in, the middle of nowhere, Iowa, I guess. Um, where the cost of living is very, very low.
Right.
I guess that 50,000 wouldn't be, you know, yeah,
Right.
it wouldn't be. So, shout out to everybody. We know you're cutting back, and we know that. Second to that, I remember reading the United States. We pretty much are seeing the most, like a mass exodus of people. The most people are leaving now than coming into the United States, and this has not been occurring since the Great Depression. So, shout out to everybody that has made the decision for themselves and their family or families to say, you know what, we're going to try something different during this time. It is not to just talk about, was it Roseanne Barr? Was it Ellen that left? Didn't Ellen, she left? A
No,
lot
it
of
was you talking
celebrities.
about Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, who was Roseanne Barr? Oh, the racist, the
Roseanne
fake
Barr is
Ambien.
yeah, she's a comedian that had a TV show in the 90s and also in the 2020s or 10s, I guess.
Okay. So yeah, it says that people are leaving. They're not staying here. Those people are getting the fuck on down. And I think we've talked about this before in past episodes, but it just ain't the best place to be right now. Definitely not from a political view, and that's what we'll save that for another episode on another day. And so one story that I did come by, and I know Rufus loves to travel, I love to travel, and I remember this was years ago where someone was saying, well, the Maldives will not be the is it Maldives or Maldives?
I think it's the Maldives.
Okay, Maldives. So I ran across this and it said that there will be, so we don't want that, right? There are countries that will
Oh, what's that?
disappear. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, because of the water levels?
Yeah, by 2100, according to the United Nations, these are the countries that will disappear. So Bangkok, Thailand, the Maldives, is that what you just said? Maldives?
Hmm.
Shout out to LaQuanda. She's actually there right now. I saw that on Instagram. So she's actually taking in that. Miami, the Netherlands, Bangladesh, Venice, Italy. I don't know what this is. Tuvalu. Tuvalu?
That sounds Russian. I can't
It's like
pronounce.
just a strip of land. Look at that. You see that?
Is it in Russia?
Uh Fiji. It's by Fiji.
Tuvalu. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It says it's gonna be fully submerged. Don't know how to say this. Kiribati. This is
Oof.
an island. Yeah. But anyway, they're saying they're gonna be gone. If we zeroed in closer to home, um, one thing that we have known, and this has been a devastated, not devastated, but a devastated area for quite some time. And I was there, oh gosh, twice, like back to back, weekly. And one thing it said, Tulane University has done a study that has warned Louisiana's vanishing coastline is past the point of no return. So those who live in New Orleans,
Mhm.
they are telling you to get the fuck out and start moving north.
I was literally waiting on you to say New Orleans. Like I knew you said countries, but then you also said Miami. So I was waiting on you to say
Yeah,
New Orleans in that, and I
yeah,
was
yeah.
talking to you. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And that other post that did listen, it was United States, but it pointed out the city of Miami. You're right, you're right. So yeah,
mhm.
they're telling residents, you all need to freaking relocate. So I know, and it was odd. I stayed in that Hilton hotel that's right off, I think it's called Hilton Riverside, and I think they have like it's a mall attached to it. What's that mall in New Orleans? It's
Oh,
got like maybe some
I,
luxury stores in there, maybe not, like some
I don't know.
outlets. But
I don't know
nonetheless,
about the
yeah,
mall.
if you're on the ground level, the water is already above your head. Aren't those called levees?
Yes.
Yeah, whatever that bordering thing, it's already the water, give or take 10 feet. And
Mhm.
so I can just imagine with time something else coming in and it just kind of, woo, taking them
Environment,
out.
and, all the ice caps is melting too, so that's probably what's making the water level
Yeah,
rise.
yeah, yeah.
But we don't need. I mean, it's probably more salt water, which is we need more fresh water. But hey, I guess we can't do nothing about that.
There we go. There we go. And as we round off our show, I know it's been heavy with a lot of transportation woes. We're talking about virus potentially coming back, and then states and countries actually being submerged by water due to bad decisions of humans, since they didn't believe Al Gore years ago when he talked about global warming.
Sure didn't. They
They
thought
didn't
he was
believe him.
fucking bullshitting.
Yep, but here we are. So Stefan Diggs found not guilty for those charges against his personal chef. And I don't know. Did you see some of those clips? Did I send them to you?
No.
Oh
You
my
didn't.
goodness, sister. She's a 41-year-old with a BBL, and she claimed to have been his chef and friend of 4 years. And there was a lot going on with her testimony. At one point, the judge herself had even gotten on to her. It was just a lot going on with that case. And it only lasted 2 days. They wrapped it up really quick, so it wasn't a Diddy situation. So I won't say shout out to him because he's facing another charge with a male accuser for sexual harassment. And more recently, like as of yesterday, he and Cardi B was celebrating with, I think it's his what is that his nonprofit, some kind of foundation. He was celebrating mothers in the Washington D.C. area, and she was there and joined him. And people were saying that, hey, maybe she came back around because his ass was found what, not guilty, because she did
I,
put
I
separation.
definitely thought they broke up. Okay.
Yeah, well, they back. And I found this other story too. 9 former NFL players are actually Jacksonville, Florida police officers. They named 5 in the article, but they did not disclose the names of the other 4. Or it could be the reverse, 4 or 5, whichever. But yeah, so it's good to see there's a life after the NFL for those who still have uh well, what can we say, movement in their bodies, like they can, because I've seen people in wheelchairs. People are dying early deaths. We say early, but post an NFL career. But these brothers are out there and they're working, man. So shout out to you all for serving your community and doing something, I guess, positive with yourself and contributing to society. What do you have any thoughts on that, Rufus?
No, sir. I'm not a big sports guy, so I don't have much to add to that. It won't be anything significant.
Understandable, understandable. And the last story, I was actually at the school when Prime entered the college sports space. And so shout out to Deion Sanders, as 2 of his children, I think it's the younger 2, Shiloh with his, is this the second wife, Pilar. You have Shiloh, who graduated from Jackson State University, I think maybe in 2024, or is either 24 or 23. Might have been 23. I think he graduated in 23. But this past week, Shador Sanders, who was the quarterback um, for the Cleveland Browns. He graduated with a sociology degree from the University of Colorado, and as of yesterday, his baby girl, youngest child, Shalamai, Sanders graduated with her Bachelor of Science in Sports Management from Alabama A&M University. That's my alma mater. I'm proud of her. So he's got 2 HBCU graduates, but even with those kids from Pilar, the 3 of them have finished a college degree. So shout out to Pilar as well as to Deion Sanders. And,
Congrats to her.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we had a short show for you all today. Rufus got to get to bed, and I got to get to the barber because I got some things to do at the top of next week. But we always enjoy you all. We look forward to tuning in and sharing our thoughts on what's going on in the news and media. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.